Practices and Role of Technology. My name is Alok Brara. I'm publisher of the Indian Infrastructure magazine, and I'll be moderating the discussion today. The format is as follows. We'll have a short presentation by Locusview to begin with. That will be for 10 to 15 minutes. And then we'll have a panel discussion, which will be an interactive discussion. Then there'll be some questions during the discussion from me, and then there'll be questions from after that as well. So that will be a very interactive session. We won't really have long remarks. We'll do question by question with the panel. We are going to begin, as I said, with a short presentation by Locusview, which is powering or sponsoring this particular webinar. I'm going to introduce him first, and I'm going to introduce the other people. That's Mr. Ahuja, Mr. Dwivedi, Mr. Singh, and Mr. Singh after the presentation. Mr. Shahar Levi is going to be making the presentation. He's founder and CEO of Locusview. Has been founded the Locusview in 2014. Has also been involved for about 5 years in tech. Has an MBA and has a degree in law as well, and has been working with gas utilities in US and other parts of the world. Mr. Levi, you can start the presentation.
Okay, hello everyone. I will just share my screen in a second. It's okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, hello everyone. And first, my name is Shahar Levi, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Locusview. I would first like to thank the Indian Infrastructure magazine for hosting this webinar and helping us to put it together. I would like to thank all of you for joining our webinar, and also for our trusted partner in India, which are both EOS, as well as the Israeli Trade Office, the Embassy of Israel, that really helped us in the last few months to open our operation in India. I will start in the next few minutes. I'm going to speak about our company, our technology, and also what we've done in India for the past 6 months. Please feel free to stop me and to ask any question. I'll be trying to answer as much as possible. And if not, I can.
Questions will be afterwards, Mr.
Perfect. Okay, very good.
The presentation first. Yeah.
Sounds good. Locusview is a 5-year-old American-Israeli technology company. We do only one thing, and this is to help gas CGD companies and pipeline companies to build a safer infrastructure. Our technology is focused on building a technology to streamline the flow from the design of a new gas pipeline all the way to what we call the system of record, once the job is done and the infrastructure is ready to become operational. It's including the ability to create the as-made, the as-built in real time in the field, joint traceability, remote inspections, and the ability to automate the creation of the pipe books. We started as an as-built tool, but we are now expanding our ability to really help utility companies, the CGD company, to do all kinds of operational and maintenance in the field in real time. This has become even more important today in the area of COVID-19, when you need to do more work and more inspection and in parallel reduce the manpower in the field. The technology that I'm about to present was developed in collaboration with GTI. GTI is the American Gas Technology Institute from Chicago, and it was funded by some of the largest energy companies in the US. In less than 5 years, we were able to build a technology that was deployed by over half of the top 20 largest gas and electric utility companies in the US. So our main focus at the beginning was the US, and the goal was really to help CGD companies in the US to execute a pretty big plan to renew and upgrade their gas infrastructure. They are investing about $50 billion a year on new infrastructure, and there was a clear need for a technology like ours. At the end of Q3 of last year, and after I really see that we had a pretty good market share in the US, we said, okay, what is the big next market for us? Where we can take our technology and help other countries to build their gas pipeline. We were looking at several territories, and after conducting meetings and pilots, we chose India. And India really took the first place. It's a combination of the large investment that is now happening in India and the need for a technology like ours. I have to say that also the personal relationship between the government of India and the government of Israel was also played a role in our decision to open an operation in India and to invest in this great country. India is now our main focus outside of the US, and we are working closely with most of the leading players in the industry in building our technology and be able to deploy it in the market. But before we will talk about the technology, I would like to speak about our great clients in the US. You can see here some of the largest gas utility companies in the US. Companies like Atmos Energy, the largest pure player natural gas player in the US, Exelon, Duke Energy, and PG&E from California, and many others. All of them are using our technology on a daily basis. Today, we have more than 4,000 field crews that are using our technology on a daily basis during construction. It's really become the industry standard in the US with respect to new construction. In the last 6 months, we visited India 4 times. I personally and my team visited India 4 times. We met with great people, with great companies, and we conducted several pretty successful pilot projects. If I may summarize our conclusion from the pilots, we find the following. We found a country that is now going to invest a lot in gas infrastructure, but there is a clear need to technology to support this investment. We see the main challenges that we found are the following. First, third-party deviation. We see that there are frequent accidents due to inaccurate system of record, and there is a clear need to know exactly which each of the assets are being located. We find that it's hard to meet PNGRB requirements for new connection. It's becoming more and more challenges because there is a lack of real-time visibility for what actually is going on in the field. We see that the back office procedure is lengthy. It includes a lot of paperwork and manual procedures. There is a clear need to automate this process and being able to approve a project faster, be able to deploy and put gas into pipe faster. We see there is a lack of material traceability, and the client don't really know each asset, the information about the exact location of the asset, the material traceability, and also being able to use this data later on for material reconciliation and other purposes. We see there are today a lot of manual inspections and field visits need to happen in the field on the one hand, but in parallel, we see that clients are trying to reduce the manpower on site due to COVID-19. Even with companies that are using some technologies, some GPS, GIS technologies, they are provide really partial solution, and we don't see an end-to-end as-made solution. And this is what we are trying to do. Our technology has one goal, and this is to bridge the gap between the design, which is the first step when you want to go out and create a new pipeline, all the way to the system of record, which is the last piece of the process. After you already install the pipeline, you have all the data, you put it in your GIS, and you want to make this pipeline operational. Our technology is a paperless as-made solution with the goal to streamline the entire process from the design as made through the GIS. It's not only about the solution, it's also about our philosophy and our understanding that it's the field crew that matters. That you can have a great technology, but if it's not being developed with the mindset of the end user, it will be useless. This is why we put a huge effort and investment in making sure that our technology will be suitable for the field crews. And during the pilots that we did in India, we did several days with the company, and after one day, we were able to give the technology to the hand of the field crews themselves, and they were able to use the technology and start collecting data in real time. Now I'll try to explain about Locustview Workflow and how exactly we are collecting the data and doing what we just said. The first step in our system is the ability to create what we call an electronic job package. The main goal is to be able to deliver to the field crew all the data that they need in order to do the work, in order to do the construction work. The data that they need to get is first is the bill of material. The bill of material can be automatically generated and import from the ERP system or from any other system where you host this data. We can also send automatically the work order directly to the field crew. The design itself can also be available for the field crew. It can be in a CAD or any other format whenever you do the design. Existing GIS information about the existing infrastructure is also available for the field. In addition to the GIS information, we can also provide the field crew with all the land-based data and information about the society, the neighborhood, the roads, the cities, and all the data that today you can get from a third-party surveyor. We are bringing all this data and putting it together as a package to the field crew. All the permits, the company procedures, and standards are all also available to the field crew. So we pack all this data and make what we call, as I said before, an electronic job package. Data is being submitted to the field crew itself. In the field user is using what we call Locusview Mobile. It's a cross-platform mobile application that is used by the field crews themselves in a very easy way and user-friendly way to collect the data in real time. What they will do, they will start by mapping the asset, each and every asset, not just the pipe, the valves, the fittings, everything will be collected through our system. In a click of a button, we can create what we call a GIS feature with a sub-foot accuracy for the location of the pipe. Except for the location of the pipe, we will also collect all what we call the material testability data. So for each asset, you will know the manufacturer, the lot count, the production date, the heat number, if it's a steel pipeline, and so on and so forth. Once we collect this data, our system can also run validation on top of it in order to make sure that the asset that is being installed is the one that should have been installed. So for example, if it's a service line, we will make sure that the diameter of the pipes is correct and according to the design. For example, if it's a plastic pipe, and we have a company procedure that does not allow an old plastic pipe that was manufactured more than 2 or 3 years ago to be installed. So if someone will try, a contractor will go out and try to install a plastic pipeline that is more than 2 or 3 years old, the system will give a notification. You are not allowed to install this pipe. It's too old. It will give this notification both to the field crew as well as to the back office users. All the data that we will collect about the asset will be used in real time, as I said, to create what we call material testability, but also later on for material reconciliation. So we will know for each project exactly what are the assets that were being installed, manufacturer lot code, as I said, what was scrapped, what was sent back to the warehouse, and so on and so forth. On top of the material testability, we will also collect all other very important data that's related to the project. For example, joint record. Our system can integrate with electrofusion machine, Butterfly machine, fusion machine, and other equipment that is out there in the field. So if, for example, you are now doing electrofusion fitting, the system will know that you now need to connect to electrofusion machine, collect the data regarding the joint, and make sure that you have all the data that you need about this point. In addition, we can collect and validate the person that is doing the work. So for example, each weld or each joint, we can make sure that the person that did this weld has the right qualification. And if not, to let you know, let back office users, the construction manager, and also the field crews themselves that something is wrong, and it's now the time to fix it. An inspector that need to come and inspect the pipe can log into our system even from his own mobile device. He can see all the data in real time, all the data that was collected and existing as part of the electronic job package in real time, and then do the remote inspection on our system. What it gives us the ability to have all the data in one place. So if, for example, there is something wrong or the inspector saying that something is not going correctly, we can reassign it to the field crew and they can fix it. Pressure test records are also part of what we call our field data collection. So for example, we can have a warning of violation that says that if we need to have a valid pressure test records for each and every part of the pipe, all the pipes that are in this project.
Mr. Levi, you just have a minute and a half more.
Yes. If data is missing, if there is no pressure test record that is missing, we will notify the system about it. All checklists are also available in the field. The other part of the system is the Locus, what we call Locusview Web. The back office user can see, have a real-time status visibility, can get warning evaluation for anything that is out there and is not according to the company procedures and regulation. Once the project is done, they can review and approve and submit the project. After they approve the project, the system will automatically export the data to the GIS, ERP, and asset management system. It can also create, in a click of a button, the pipe book and any other estimate and report that you need. What is today a very lengthy process will be totally automated with our system. We provide a turnkey solution because we understand that it's not only about the software, it's also about the hardware and managed service. Therefore, every field crew will get a hardware kit with a tablet, GPS, barcode scanner, pole, and everything. And on top of our software, we also will provide all the managed services, which include cloud hosting from Mdpe, AWS server, RTK base station, if we are working in an area with poor GPS connectivity, and help desk. This entire package is on a very lean offering. There is no requirement for any upfront costs in order to start and use our technology and deploy the technology. We are really looking forward to work with you and to build a safer infrastructure together.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Neha, if you can make it gallery view now, please. Mr. Levi, if you can stop sharing the screen.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah. And Neha, can you make it gallery view? Yeah. Okay, wonderful. We're ready for the panel discussion now. And let me introduce the panelists. We have wonderful panelists with us. And this is in alphabetic order, I should say, last name. We have with us Mr. Manmohan Ahuja, who's President, Projects and Engineering at Think Gas Distribution Private Limited. He has about 4 decades of experience, currently responsible for execution of companies CGD and LNG projects. In the past, he's worked with H Energy, with Petronet LNG, with Engineers India Limited, also with Stork Contracting and Engineering Group. He's a chemical engineer by training. Mr. Ahuja, welcome. Wonderful to have you with us. Also with us is Mr. Ranjan Dwivedi, Managing Director of Central UP Gas Limited. And he too has almost 4 decades of experience in natural gas and also earlier on in fertilizer business. He's worked in Gale's marketing department. He's also where he was responsible for gas transportation, contracts and regulatory affairs. He was also Jaipur Zonal Office marketing head. He's been working with Gale India for over 2 decades now. And in the past, he worked with National Fertilizers. But currently, the reason he's here today, of course, is because he's managing director of Central UP Gas. He's a chemical engineer, also has an MBA as well. Wonderful, Mr. Dwivedi. I'm very happy that you were able to join us. Also with us is an old friend of our organization, Mr. Manjeet Singh. We've known him for a very, very long time. He's Senior Vice President, Project Engineering and JV Coordination, has 3 decades of experience. In the past, he's worked with BPCL as well. He's also been involved in development of PNG and PNG network in Delhi. And he has many firsts to credit, including concept of canopy mounted equipment for CNG outlets. He is the subcommittee at the NBRP for the formulation of 3,4S for the CGD industry. He's a mechanical engineer from IIT Delhi. Welcome, Mr. Singh, as always.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And also joining us by phone, because there were some video issues and issues, is Mr. Ram Balaba Singh, who is Vice President and Regional Head, South and East India for Adani Gas Limited. He has about 3 decades of experience in the sector. Earlier, he has worked with Gujarat Gas, with British Gas, with Mahanagar Gas, and also the IOAGPL, which is a joint venture between Adani and he, in fact, helped with the launch of Adani operations in Faridabad He's a member of Working Subcommittee on International Standard ASME 31.8 and chairperson of Subcommittee on Integrity Management System formed by PNGRB. He's a mechanical engineer by training, also has an MBA in operation management. So we have an excellent panel. And the first question that I have for each one of you, and I'm going to start with in alphabetic order, and then I'm going to make sure that everybody has a first shot at a question. So although these answers are going to be very specific to your company, so there's no repetition here. Mr. Ahuja, let me ask you, first of all, what is the status of your projects right now in different GAs? has it been affected by COVID? What are the timelines right now, Mr. Ahuja? So you have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
You want me to give a political answer or a correct answer?
Correct.
Okay. I will not.
Before you mention that, I should mention we have 107 participants who have logged into the webinar. Yeah.
Sure.
Please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Sure. I think as far as status of my project is concerned, we are definitely affected by COVID, because last 2-3 months there have not been much work on field. Although we did manage to do all our design work, all our planning work through efficient tool like Zoom and other things, work from home, and teams have been really working hard and they have been constant. But the work at field did got impact. But now last 15 years, we are limping back. Work is started at 1 or 2 locations. We have reached the pre-COVID speed. At other locations, we are around anywhere between 45 to 85% of, if in our own evaluation, 45 to 85% of pre-COVID speed. We intend to catch up as early as possible. But then again, to summarize, I think the COVID has indeed impacting us, and we will be slightly delayed in meeting our targets, which we had initially set for ourselves.
Yeah, Mr. Ahuja, those of you who don't know things, could you tell us about the GAs that you have, and when is the date for operations?
Yeah, between 9th and 10th GS, so 10th and 11th, we won 5 of the GS. We have 2 of them in Punjab, which is Ludhiana and Jalandhar, and we have 2 in MP, which is Shivpuri and Bhopal. And then we have 1 in Bihar, Begusarai.
Okay. And what are the timelines for commissioning, sir? I might have missed that in case you mentioned that.
No, I didn't mention the timeline. See, timeline of various different CGS. We will be starting now commissioning this month, let's say this year, September onwards.
September onwards. All right.
We'll start. Different CGS will be, commissioned at different dates. The first one we target in Punjab to be commissioned in September. But as such, otherwise, we have already started CNG stations based on LCV route.
Oh, all right. Okay. I'm going to be not asking all of you questions all the questions at the same time. I'm going to go question by question. We'll make it interactive in various rounds. Again, going in alphabetic order again to go to Mr. Dwivedi, if you can unmute yourself, sir. Sir, could you tell us, of course, your organization has been in existence for a while. I mean, how has COVID impacted your operations?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Ranjan Dwivedi representing CUGL.
Yeah. Sir, and one more thing, sir, before you mentioned that, maybe you can give everybody a sense of this, just the features of your project, the size of your network, etc.
Yeah. Definitely, sir. Actually, we are operating in 3 areas. That is Bareilly, Kanpur is a part of Unnao along with this one, and the Jhansi. These are our area of operation. We do not have any other new area in 9th and 10th round of bidding. As far as the present areas are concerned, we have already commissioned quite a number of CNG stations in Kanpur, Bareilly, and this is a profit-making organization as of now. And the things are have been rolling up fast before the COVID, but immediately after COVID, it has become very quite difficult for just to arrange for the manpower and the contractors, because most of the manpower which we have kept on hold, they have already left for their own places, and this is the major bottleneck which we are going to face for quite some time, even since now. However, as far as the planning part is concerned, we are quite in line. Everything and the material is already ready. Last year, we have rolled out approximately 30,000 PNG consumers, and 10 of the CNG stations have been put into place. And even once we have opened up, our gas consumption has reached up to 2 lakh meter cube per day. So we are cruising up in a bit nice way in that fashion.
Okay. Mr. Dwivedi, you mentioned 30,000 household connections. What is the total network kilometers of your pipeline system?
That is, it is approximately 1,800 kilometers of Mdpe pipeline what we have laid, and steel pipeline is 126 kilometers.
Okay. And what was your plan for 2021?
2021, probably because now first of all, what we understand, we are going to go along with whatever is being directed to us as far as the new job and profile, and as far as the targets are concerned. But definitely we will like to adhere to the aspect of as a business entity, from the point of view from where we can generate the revenue.
Right.
Because simply keep on putting the CNG stations here and there is going to become, first of all, it's not a cost-effective phenomenon. And moreover, it will definitely have a long gestation period. Right. So definitely we are going to target other OMCs to install our stations over there. And definitely we will look from a point of view from where we can generate a revenue as fast as possible, because this is the time not to leave the money stranded somewhere here and there and then see accordingly.
Mr. Vidya, I understand that, of course, COVID has impacted the goals, but what would have been your goal otherwise for 2021 in terms of the network, in terms of connections, in terms of CNG stations?
Okay, fine. Probably what we are thinking that we will be able to connect 15 CNG stations. We will put a 50 CNG stations as far as this financially is concerned, and 35,000 of PNG consumers what we are targeting.
Okay. And Mr. Ahuja, if I can just go back to you, could you tell us what your goals are, or what you have you promised PNGRB?
Alok, I'm really sorry, I may not be remembering the exact numbers, and I'm not carrying it along.
No issues. No issues.
But otherwise, in terms of inch kilometers and in terms of housing connections, we had a fairly large commitment made to PNGRB. So I think around a lakh of domestic connections in Bhopal GA, and in different GAs we have different numbers. I will not, rather than quoting wrong numbers, I think I
come back to you for that, sir. Okay, let me go to Mr. Manjeet Singh. As I said, an old friend of our organization. Always happy to have him here. Mr. Singh, if you can unmute yourself, and then I can ask you the question. Sir, could you first tell us roughly the scope and scale of IGL's operations right now? And then you could also tell us how COVID has impacted, and then of course after that I'm going to go through another round.
See, Alok, as far as IGL is concerned, this is one of the very large companies. If you are asking me about what is our physical progress as of now, IGL is in all segments, as you know, domestic, CNG, commercial, and industries. We have around approximately 524 numbers of CNG stations which are operating, and we have 1.29 million of domestic consumers. We have around 3,000 number of commercial establishments where we are supplying the gas, and we have approximately 2,300 numbers of the industry. If you ask that what is the pipeline, it is approximately IGL has laid 14,000 kilometers of 14,000 of the kilometer of the pipeline in all, which includes your steel pipeline and Mdpe pipeline. And at this moment, we are catering to around 1.12 million of vehicles. The total gas volumes which we are selling is approximately 6.51 MMSCMD, with a total gross turnover of more than 6,000 crores. Exactly, precisely, if you ask me the number, it is 6,336. That's our physical performance. And at this moment, IGL is operating into 12 geographical areas, starting from pre-PNGRB time, which is Delhi, Noida, Greater Noida, Ghaziabad, and Gurgaon. In round 6, we have been given Rewari. In round 8, it was Karnal. Then in round 9, it is Shamli and Muzaffarnagar. And in round 10th, it is Kaithal, Ajmer, Pali, Rajasthan, and Kanpur, Fatehpur, Hamirpur. So if you talk about the states, it's Delhi NCR, it is Haryana, it is Rajasthan, and it is Uttar Pradesh. So that is where we are operating, and our physical performance is very good. If you ask about the year 31st March 2019, it was 786.67 crores. That was the profit after tax. And as far as the return on capital is concerned, it has been constantly growing, which is in 2016-17, it was 23%. In 2017-18, it was 26%. In 2018 and 19, it is 27%. So till now, as far as it is absolutely good, we can say. If you ask me about the COVID, though COVID is a recent thing, around 3 months back, the COVID scenario started. But before that, our performance last year was again excellent. We have connected more than 2.5 lakh connection. Exactly, I think 2,65,000 connections, domestic connections were made, as well as more than 55 retail outlets were constructed. CNG retail outlet was constructed. This is in a different state, but the yearly performance, if you look at the physical performance, have been good. And similarly, I'm quite confident that recent results which have been announced were good in terms of financial performance. Okay. Now, during the COVID period, also definitely, if you ask me about the business has affected. Business has reduced to 10%. If you ask about the CNG, the first thing I take it, the CNG, the sales have dropped down. 90% is not there now. Only 10% is there for various reasons. Totally lockdown and at the same time holidays in schools. No mobility. So it has reduced to 10%. But we have been operating more than 50 stations in town out of 500, because there was no point of running all the stations. If you talk about the commercials, it has gone almost negligible. It has gone down badly. If you talk about the industries, because the labor has gone, so again the industries was closed down. So first 3 months of this financial year is almost gone, and if you ask about the financial progress in terms of the sales, it is badly affected. As far as work is concerned, it is slowly moving on. If I talk about the Haryana, the PNGRB has given us some minimum work program that was completed. So I think probably ISL was the one company which has delivered exactly dot on whatever targets were given. We have delivered it to PNGRB to the targets given by them, so they are very much satisfied as far as physical progress in Haryana is concerned. The GS which I talked to you about Haryana thing, whether it is Kathal, whether it is Rewari, whether it is Karnal, whether it is these are the Gurgaon also, where we made progress as per the targets which were given, but we missed in Ajmer, Pali, and Rajasthan. But as far as work is concerned, we have started laying our gas network in all the GAs which are given to us by PNGRB. So that's a physical progress into all GAs which I discussed with you.
Okay, and so Mr. Singh, what were we hoping to achieve before this COVID came? What was the target for 2021 in terms of CNG stations, in terms of PNG connections, and in terms of pipeline network kilometers?
See, if we talk about, let's talk about Rewari. Rewari physical progress, which was targeted to August 20. If we talk about, it was the pipeline in inch kilometer was 585, and PNG connections we were planned to have 6,231. So we are on track. We have achieved this much. I think more than that we have achieved. In Kanpur, we were supposed to have PNG connections of in March 20, we didn't have any target. CNG stations, no target was there. Steel pipeline in inch kilometer, 59 inch kilometer was to be laid. This has been done. The land has been acquired for CNG station. So our targets in March 21 is to have 7 CNG stations in Kanpur, and around 14,000 PNG connections are to be made, and we have to lay around 234 inch kilometer of the pipeline. So I am expecting that as far as physical performance is concerned, in Kanpur there should not be any problem. We should be able to achieve it.
Okay.
In Karnal, again, we were to achieve pipeline in 448 inch kilometer, which has been achieved. Again, in Karnal, we were supposed to get PNG connections of 2,191. This has also been achieved. Besides that, there are 3 stations which have been made operational. So Karnal, that is not a problem. Now, if I talk about the Kathal in March 20, there was no PNG connection was planned, CNG station was not planned, steel pipeline was planned, 41 inch kilometer, which has been achieved, and CNG station work is in progress, because in Kathal we are going to supply it from Karnal, and so since our CNG station is ready there, I think probably we'll be able to supply our cascades to Kathal. Regarding Muzaffarnagar, in September 19th, there was PNG connection was 0 and CNG station was 0. Steel pipeline in inch kilometer was 88, which had been achieved. Ajmer, we are lagging behind, but there was no plan for March 20 because it was PNG connection was not to be connected. CNG station again is not there anything. Steel pipeline is getting late, which is 97 inch kilometer. This is making a progress. We are lagging behind a little bit here on this inch kilometer of pipeline, because there we are laying Mdpe pipeline. As far as steel pipeline is concerned, it is not there. It is going to take some time. So we have different plans. We are planning to have LNG stations in Ajmer and Pali and Rajman. We'll be making 30 CNG stations there. And that's what we are planning in 2021.
Thank you,
sir. So
that
is the plan. I will send you this plan in writing also, so that you have the figures, because these figures were in front of me, so I could explain you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I can go to Mr. Ram Ballabh Singh. Sir, if you can unmute yourself. Mr. Singh, if you can unmute yourself first.
Oh.
Mr. Ram Ballabh Singh. I can see him, but he's not, he's muted right now. Can we unmute him, please, Neha? Yes. Mr. Ballabh Singh, could you tell us, sir, what is the, how many GAs do you have right now, and how many are operational? I think just a few, and how many are under construction, and give us a sense of what the scale of operations is in these new areas, or not operations, but the scale of the goals that you have, and also how is COVID impacted this, and what are the timelines now? Sorry, all these questions. Mr. Singh, please.
No problem. Good afternoon to all. Are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you very well.
Okay. As far as number of GA is concerned, we have 19 GA with us, out of which 4 are operational and 15 are new one. Okay, that we own in 9th and 10th round. In 9th round, we own 13 numbers, and on 10th, 2 numbers. Mm-hmm. As far as this details are concerned, mm-hmm, we have as of now around 4.3 lakhs, 36 lakhs of domestic customers, mm-hmm, around 4,500 of industrial and commercial connections, and 150 numbers of CNG. Out of 23 we have added from the new GA. So mm-hmm, if you see, out of 15, our 9 GAs are operational now. Operational in terms of mainly the CNG operations. We have not commissioned any CGS out of all new GA. Right. When it comes, you see, Adani has divided the entire operation into 3 zones. Zone North is the headquarter of North is Faridabad, where the number of new GA is 4 and old one is 2, Faridabad and Khurja. Mm-hmm. And the new one is Palwal, then Bhiwani, then Mahendragarh, then 2 from Jhansi and Bilaspur, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. West Zone has 2 operational assets, Ahmedabad and Baroda, and 7 new GA, out of which 5 are from Gujarat and 2 are from Rajasthan. In Rajasthan, we have Bhilwara, and another one is this Udaipur.
Right.
As far as South is concerned, in South, where I am looking after, South has 4 GA, out of which 2 GA is in Tamil Nadu, 1 is in Karnataka, and 1 is in Orissa. As far as the operationalization is concerned, in South, especially in Tamil Nadu, there was no government order. And in order to have a pipeline laid along the side of a state highway, we have to have a government order. Only then the local authorities would give us permission. There is a recent development on 26th last month, 26th May, the government of Tamil Nadu issued a government order, and then now it's become the reality that yes, we will get the permission in Tamil Nadu also along the state highway.
Right.
As far as out of this 15 GA, we are going to have 5 number of GA where connectivity is a issue. Connectivity from the existing gas pipeline network, mainly GAIL, whether GAIL, GSPL or Reliance. So we have planned for 5 LNG satellite stations. Okay, we are going to have LNG station facilities installed, and then we have a LNG satellite, and from there we have a pipeline also, and mainly we will cater to the local CNG stations. Okay, parallelly we will lay pipeline also. Like in Tamil Nadu, in Tirupur, there is no connectivity, so we are going to plan for this one, LNG satellite station. Even in Kadlur also, we are going to have. So as far as this, I am not just counting because the number of, number of GAs are around 15, so I am not able to collect all the data.
However, to get a sense of it,
However, this year, so far we have 150 numbers of CNG operational. Right. And next year, what we are planning, we are going to double it. Means we have 115 more number of CNG stations. This includes DBA stations mainly, and also our own stations. Right. So next year we are planning to operationalize all the GS, all the 15 GS, including South India also.
Okay, all right. My next question, I'm going to not begin with Mr. Ahuja. This is a question that is common to all of you, but
I something remains that you had asked about the COVID part, COVID-19 affection.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Mr. Manjit Singh, my colleague, has already told you that CNG station, CNG sales dropped like anything. It went up to 10% only because of the mobility issue of vehicles. However, wherever the composition of domestic customers were more, then it kept live. Like in IGL, it is 1.269 or 1.3 million. Whereas in our case, it is almost 50%. The distribution of PNG and CNG is almost 50%. Right. So here, somehow we were managed to sell up to 20% during the Nadir period, and now it has been picked up to around 60%. So now we are at 60% of the total peak volume.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. My second round, this time I'm going to begin with not Mr. Ahuja, but I'm going to begin with Mr. Dwivedi. Mr. Dwivedi, what have we learned from COVID in terms of technology use? What technologies, are we looking for more automation? Are we looking for less human interference? Are you looking for more remote monitoring, remote management, remote reading, etc.? What are the lessons that we have learned from this experience? Mr. Dwivedi?
And definitely, when the work from home concept was evolved, and it was going on along with all our office colleagues, then what we have observed that as far as the e-approvals are concerned, this has become now the talk of the town. Now it is going to be there for all the time to come, or most of the time to come, not all the time. So most of the approval what we have taken within our organization is through mails only. And if the same thing can be percolated in the administrative field also, say if we have to seek the permission from our district authorities, fire and PESO and all the procedures, that can be taken on e-mode, probably that will fasten the process, and definitely it will be transparent enough and it can be managed well. So there will be a further, we will be able to cut the time and efficiency will further improve. And that what actually we have observed during working from home.
Right.
Rather, it is very heartening to see that people have delivered more while working from home as compared to working from the office.
Right.
This is absolutely only my
Yes.
experience has been. Moreover, when the COVID is there and when the people are really skeptical about moving outside, then definitely SAP and web integration is needed nowadays, because customer interface on the SAP and web, then there should not be any much of the difference over there. A person can fill up its own form on the web, and that can be translated into action and providing him the connection. All can be taken as far as the paperwork, etc. is concerned, can easily be minimized. And then definitely we are aiming for more and more online payment, and we are providing the options to the consumers. Even as far as the meter readings are concerned, we are asking them to just to click your photo of your meter and load it on WhatsApp as a message on a particular number, and we can generate the bill for you and we'll send you on your WhatsApp and you can pay the bill. And because of which we have definitely generated our revenue to a bit extent. Now billing process is definitely to be further strengthened up, and that has to be only on e-mode. Now application-based meter reading through SMS and email, of course, that is I have already talked about. Moreover, as far as the meters AMR meters, because the moment the automatic meter readings are taken, it can directly load it down to the server and the bills are generated. That is more efficient, less manpower contact. And this we have been talking earlier also, before this COVID phenomena came in picture. So now this is going to become the reality as far as our scene is concerned.
Okay. Sir, from a monitoring progress point of view, I mean, are you thinking maybe going forward, once the work begins again, will you be looking for more remote management and more automation there? And are you already looking at some technologies?
As far as that is concerned, we are on a very nascent stage. Not much has been thought of, because we are running short of the manpower, those who are going to actually work on the field. Right. That is the pressing need as of now.
Okay. So
we are fervently behind the people. At least they should come forward and let us start working on one area or the other.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's go to, I'm going to go to Mr. Manjeet Singh now. Mr. Manjeet Singh, sir, if you can unmute yourself. The question for you is now from an organization point of view, from a very holistic, top management point of view, what are the lessons from COVID and what are the new requirements in terms of automation, or new requirements in terms of the remote management, etc.? What would be the new strategic thrust that you think is needed?
Yeah, sir. For the COVID-19, see, norms are social distancing, that how we can reduce the contact, and automation and digital platforms are the only solution. IGL is very lucky that I don't know, we never thought of that we will be going to COVID, etc. But as the company was growing large, I think to manage company more efficiently in terms of our physical performance, in terms of our financial performance, we have made automation as our way of life. This started around 3 years back when Mr. Ranganathan himself took this initiative that being an automation, being an instrumentation engineer, I think probably he has a lot of passion about the automation. So a lot of automation work have been done, which is definitely giving us advantage now. And with the COVID thing, I think probably we will be taking up more and more automation work in future too. Now, I'll just let you know what are the works which have been done in automation. And to start with, if we talk about the metering at the residence, the problem with the metering was that with the conventional meter, there was a problem that you need to really bother the customer, and customer was not liking. So what we have thought of, that we will have automated meter reading, and for which we have gone with the automated meters which can be read through without bothering the customer. That is, no contact with the customer. The person goes into the field and he can He can, with his device, can take the meter reading without going into the house, and the same can be transmitted to our servers, central server, from which the billing module is connected and the bills can be produced. So there is no contact with the consumer in that. Second thing is, the other meters are where they have the SIM inside the meters, which through internet they are transmitting the readings to our central server, and again the billing. Top of that, what we have seen and we have tried for, to give more independence to our consumer, we have thought of going for the prepaid meter. So when Rewari came, I think probably we thought, let us take this city as a pilot project to put the prepaid meters. So what we have done is, we have gone ahead with the prepaid meters and put up the prepaid meters into the Rewari GA, and it is working successfully. Now the prepaid meter, the benefits are that you pay first and use later. You eliminate all physical contact for meter reading. You save our paper invoicing. No customer complaints related to meter reading and the payments. No outstanding balances issues. Customer gets SMS whenever there is a short of their balance, so they can top up that at their home itself. Advance payments helps to us to make to help us in a better cash flow. So as far as advantages to us as well as to the customer. The only thing is that prepaid meter, since it is volumes are less, it is a bit expensive. Not a bit expensive, it is quite expensive. A prepaid meter is costing around 11,000 rupees, which is a cost of the meter around 5,000 rupees, and another 6,000 rupees goes to back end for the O&M work, as compared to AMR meters, which is 3,500 rupees, and which is 2,300 rupees the cost of the meter, and 1,200 rupees for the O&M. So as the technology is going to improve and volumes are going to go up, I think probably prepaid meter would be another automation work which will be, in view of COVID-19, could be very beneficial, and that is what we will be trying for. Okay. We are trying to have a meter manufacturing facility. That is one of the initiatives which IGL is taking it, and maybe some distinct advantage of being made in India. And I think probably if the cheaper meters could be made, I think prepaid meter would be a solution way forward. Besides that, we have gone for digital payments. So in digital payments, the customer has now a lot of options to pay themselves. They can just take the photograph, as Divedi was also saying, and these photographs can be sent, and he can himself can do this meter reading job, and we can send them the bill. We have a lot of digital platforms for payment, so he can make the payments through digital platform. And I think with the COVID, customer will definitely love to do that. They will not like to be in contact with the people, and this project is also going to be successful. Okay. On automation side, we have also done our SCADA. So now the O&M, the data collection, there were a lot of duplications and a lot of paperwork was there. That will be avoided, and we will be able to do real-time monitoring exactly sitting in our control room, and better MIS can be generated. We have also implemented GSP. So now these dashboards will be there, and real-time monitoring can be done, and there are a lot of analytical tools are there, which will be able to help us in making fast decision-making for the O&M, etc., etc. We are also now, since this COVID thing you talked about the project monitoring, which is the subject of this talk today, for the project monitoring and the O&M, we are also thinking to implement Industry 4.0, which will definitely is going to help us in terms of better O&M, better costs, better decision making without really we can maintain the social distancing and all the norms for which the COVID-19 is there. So these are the tools, and when we implement them, we are also doing the techno-commercial viability of these things, where all these vendors, prospective vendors, they are also giving their feedback and their proposals, and definitely this is going to help us. And now, from the customer point of view, we have launched a lot of apps, like IGL Connect app is there, which is again the Google Map, which will help them to know that if there is a queue and how much waiting time is there on that particular retail outlet. So if they have no time, probably they will be knowing the next destination of the retail outlet on their way there. If there is no waiting time, they can go and take the CNG there, which will be a customer pleasure again.
Yeah. Thank you.
We have also introduced for HSE the safety permits. Now these safety permits will also be on digital platform. So again, this is going to help them. Our inspection agencies can use IGL field mobility. So all data about that how RFC has been done, and that is updated, which is a good reference in future also, as we are talking about the GIS, etc. I think probably GIS is already implemented here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Mr. Singh, I'll come back to you.
In Office, we have gone ahead with the MS team and digital platform. So it's all digital platform. It's a movement of digital platform in IGL.
Okay.
Rest assured, we are moving towards the safe direction.
Okay. If I can go to Mr. Ram Ballabh Singh now. Mr. Ram Ballabh Singh, purely from a project construction point of view and project management point of view, are you using any, are you moving towards more automation, or are you considering using technologies in that regard?
Yeah, actually, because we are operating in multi locations. So what we did, we have set up a project management, offices and cells. Mm-hmm. And this is equipped with Primavera that we are using as a planning tools. Okay. Mm-hmm. This department, what it is doing, it's not only provides us the macro and micro kind of, activities to be monitored. At the same time, it identifies the various lapses and coordinate with various departments, suppose material departments, then technical departments, etc., to ensure that the resources are available at the site. So this is a totally digital kind of thing. This is totally automized, and all the projects and GA-wise have been mapped on it. Mm-hmm. Second thing, I can call it as a progress assurance department, because not only it monitors the progress at site, but it also gives confidence to the management that where we stand in terms of progress, where we stand in terms of availability of various resources, etc., etc. So on planning part and on project monitoring part, we have been using this, and we have already done this. We have mapped all the GA on this platform, and there is a complete separate department at organizational level to monitor and control these project activities.
Okay. Thank you, sir. If I can go to Mr. Ahuja and ask him the same question, since your projects have been primarily under construction, what kind of automation or what kind of technologies are you using to monitor the progress, or to or to enable speedier implementation? Mr. Ahuja, you have to unmute yourself, sir. So you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah. Alok, although we are also a bit of nascent company, but yet from the day one, the company thought of using automation and leaving minimum to chance and probability. That is why, we started from the day one adopting this automation, particularly so in monitoring and analyzing. What Shahar mentioned some time back, Locust, in his presentation, what he mentioned about, on-site monitoring and real-time monitoring of the work, progress, quality. We started also that from the day one. Today, at least that way, probably I think so. For whatever I've heard, we probably adopted the best possible on-site real-time monitoring technology. Of course, we we didn't have the same what Locus mentioned. We took it from one of their probably competitors. Let me not mention right now the name, but we use the same technology, exactly similar. I think if you see the presentation what Shahar has given, I can say I adopted that, which was to make sure that project quality is maintained, all capture. Asset capturing data, store management, real-time monitoring of project and images and video, and complete pipe book. You imagine a parameter during construction, what you would like to see from the individual geo coordinates. We have it on real-time basis, which we can be seeing and monitoring from our HO here. Probably the only thing which we are still not able to capture real-time, and then there is a practical limitation is that RT films, because they take time in developing. Once you have taken the radiography analysis, by the time you get films, it takes time. Otherwise, we fully adopted this automation technology because and real-time construction. We call it construction quality management software. We don't call it like the QCM is in our terminology. In our company, it is known as. And all these features which Shahar has meant. And I am assuring you, this is helping a company a lot. It's not only that we are saving on the human interface, it's giving you a real picture right now, and it is prompting the people at site also to be careful, because they know that they are being constantly, even the welding photographs, which are the guys who have done the welding, their numbers, their qualification, movement of the pipe, which pipe went where, all tracking, everything is taken care of by this quality construction management software, which we adopted from the day one, automation of that.
So Levi, if I can come to you, and if I can, what advice do you have for people who are responsible for, trying to do these projects in a relatively short amount of time? They were going to do that anyways. The goals were pretty ambitious to begin with, and now they've been made even more ambitious with COVID. What are some of the things I want them to do?
Yeah, Alok, I would say,
Sorry, that is for Mr. Levi. Sorry, Mr. Oza, that is for Mr. Levi.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. I would say two things mainly. One is to start early as possible, because when we are meeting with companies that started, they installed most of their pipelines maybe 50 or 60 years ago, and now they're facing a situation where they don't know where it is and don't know the conditions of the pipe. And I think that in this aspect, the companies in India has the privilege, because they are building the network today, and the technology is is available and it's cost effective, to use it as early as possible, because you have the time when the trench is open. This is your time to capture the data. This is the first thing I would say. Start as early as possible. And I will also advise them to choose a technology that can offer them a lean deployment, something that they can grow with the company, because it's clear that the challenge and the needs that we have today are not necessarily what we're going to be in the future. And therefore, I will offer them to start lean and expand as they go, and as they see the feedback from the field crews that are using the technology. I think that we have found that there is a big gap between just having a tool to collect the data versus a tool that will be first well adopted by the field crews themselves, and also that is being able to be smart enough and validate in real time the quality of the work. So it's not just the collection of the work, but it's also the ability to validate the quality of the work in real time.
Okay, Mr. Ujay, if I can come back to you, what are the biggest challenges? You're a company, very well funded, a lot of international connections, coming with a very good management team you have, but what are the biggest headaches for you today?
You're saying challenges or headache? They said I would take
challenges, headaches, whatever keeps you awake.
Well, headache remains the same, which we are, in fact, all CGDs have referred at various platforms, be it PNG or whether is.
Yeah, so I didn't mean land acquisition and those kinds of things.
Yeah, like timely approvals is the one. That remains the headache. Otherwise, there's nothing which could not be solved. So that's why I will say all others were challenging. But biggest challenge I would say is managing accurate database of the assets and network. Okay. And probably the lesson which we learned, and we are now starting adopting in the very first year itself, is what again Levi has said, you have to deploy this technological tools and including GIS right in the beginning itself, so that you can do all digital mapping very well and take that input into the design stage itself. All my colleagues here would agree, one of the biggest challenge probably in CGD, otherwise it's not a very high tech area, one of the biggest challenges to to reach to the isolation wall or isolation point in case of any emergency in the shortest possible time and reducing the volume. That's the biggest challenge. That's what doing design itself. So if you involve right in the beginning itself, during the planning stage itself, GIS, land-based software technologies and whatever Levi has explained, then I think the major challenge is already taken care of.
Mr. Dwivedi, if I can come to you, sir, have you been using any of these technologies? Is it a plan to use them later on?
So we are planning to use it later on in the later phases. First of all, we have to consolidate on few of the areas, especially on the Jhansi.
Right.
And of course, we are developing the network because this is an ongoing process altogether.
Right.
Because as the city is expanding and we have to keep connecting the consumers.
Right.
So things are still moving on, has not come to a standstill position, and the project cannot be said as completed. So definitely we are looking for further aspect of it. And then we are concentrating more on GIS system to be implemented as soon as possible in our system, and looking forward to all such things, sir.
Okay. Mr. Dwivedi, pre-COVID, what were the biggest challenges in terms of projects?
As far as that, again, I tell you, sir, the problem is with respect to that part was with respect to most of the contractors working in the field. Their dedication towards the work was somehow being compromised in one aspect or the other. And moreover, the biggest challenge what we had with the permission from the administration, which is definitely everywhere it is there. And I'm sorry to say, but the fact is that state governments are not giving that much of importance to the CGD and progress of natural gas networks.
Right.
So that is one of the major factors. And moreover, as far as the pricing part is concerned, that is also creating a lot of trouble for us as far as selling of the gas with respect to and vis-a-vis to other liquid fuel is concerned, and in industrial consumers are concerned.
Right, of course, right, yeah.
So that is one of, because, and moreover, gas is not in the GST regime.
Right.
So
yeah. I was thinking only from a project point of view, but where the big challenge is not so much from a commercial point of view, but the project point of view. Yeah.
So that I'm telling you, sir, because of basic was the third-party damage.
Right.
That is a prime area of concern, because people are not taking the CGD network seriously.
Right.
It's causing us a lot of trouble.
Okay.
And as far as this permissions, etc., are concerned, they are also the point of concern.
So let me get to this third-party damage. Mr. Levi, you also mentioned that in your presentation, third-party damage. You noticed in your study of situation in India, that's something that happens. Now, we don't always have utility, corridors. In fact, we don't have utility corridors. We don't even always have good utility maps available to others. So what is the solution here?
I think what we have seen, I can tell you to share with you with my experience that this problem is something that the industry is facing all over the world. And where I think utilities later on down the road need to invest a lot of money and manpower to locate their assets during their day-to-day operation. I think that this is an existing problem for the existing infrastructure. There are all kinds of technology that we are also looking in now. How can we help utilities to locate already existing infrastructure? But again, I'm always going back to the unique position of India that a lot of the pipeline are now being laid. And if you will have an accurate map today, it will save you a lot of time and money in the future. We are seeing clients in the US that can could get millions of tickets from customers to come and locate the pipe for them because they don't have an accurate map. So they need to send a field crew to the field with locators to try to find the pipelines. Having an accurate map from the first place can save a lot of this overhead later on down the road. So again, it's a mix of using the right technology today when you install a new pipeline, as well as having a good procedure to locate existing infrastructure, what is once needed in the field, because the customer would like to get the location of the pipe or for any other reason.
Mr. Rambalab Singh, if I can come to you, what has been your experience in terms of construction I'm talking about assets of other utilities. Do you normally get information about assets of other utilities? By that, I mean, water utilities and power utilities and telecom utilities.
Generally, we have we have created a WhatsApp group among them. And the general trend is whoever may be the in charge of that area, they are calling in the morning itself. Okay. So this is the informal way to get the information about the utility working. But I do agree with my colleague, Mr. Trivedi, who is saying that this outage management is the biggest challenge in CGD business, where nobody cares about our network. Okay. And there is no legal binding also. If anybody is rupturing our pipeline, nobody can support us. Even police, if we are going to file a suit against them, but they are not taking it because there is no such kind of thing. So this is the biggest challenges in CGD, especially those who are in operation. Second thing, what he is saying, again, I am agreeing to that, the quality of contractors are not up to the mark in Indian, if we check. They are taking the contracts, they are outsourcing it, subletting it, and they are not maintaining the minimum quality. There is a proverb, Savdhani hati durghatna ghati. So this is applicable to even contractor side also. So they are not taking the accountability which is happening in other parts of the world. Like I was working in British Gas, and there a certified plumber is responsible for, leakage-free connections. But here, this is not the case. So that is the another part. But yes, as far as solution is concerned, actually, what we are proposing and what we are doing, there should be two aspects of it. One aspect is the creation of organizational infrastructure. If we talk about the organizational infrastructure, it should be like systems and procedures in your place, okay, for how and what type of things. The SAP is also in place because you are going to manage a big chunk of, big volume of data. And especially when you are entering into domestic segment, it becomes very difficult. Then you must have a, the export billing kind of things for, particularly in this condition where how can you bill it, digital payments, etc., etc. But I'm coming to this outage management, where a combination of organizational infrastructure supported with technology in terms of if you have a SCADA system in place, okay, if you have a automatic meter readings in place, like mainly for what we have done here, we have installed mainly for industrial and commercial customers. That is only 5,000, which is not financially feasible in case of domestic segments.
I just want to speak more about the project, part of it. In terms of the issues that you are having, but I think you answered that well in terms of the, how you are dealing with it. Let me just quickly go to Mr. Manjeet Singh, ask him one quick specific question. Mr. Singh, in Delhi, there was an attempt at one point to create a spatial database. I think there was even a company set up, Delhi Geospatial, to provide, assets mapping and utility asset mapping, infrastructure asset mapping. Did anything come of that, Mr. Singh? Sir, you have to unmute yourself, sir. You have to unmute yourself, sir.
Alok, we have done it, and that's why long back we have institutionalized the system of one is GIS, then second thing is pipeline integrity. So all these infrastructure which are laid are very well mapped, and we have understanding with these municipal corporations that these maps are also available with them, exchange with them. Second thing is
with the electricity utilities as well and water utilities.
Yes. So in case if they are going to do any job there, they will contact us, and at the same time we have a system, a conventional system of patrolling, etc. So our people are quite vigilant. In case if something is happening, they go and they inform to the concerned control room person, who goes and talks to that agency, and then finally they share their maps and they tell them the location. The important thing is whether
Yeah, the objective, of course, is that one shouldn't have to do that. There should be
yeah.
place, so you don't.
So we have so we are very particular on this because it is a safety issue. Second thing is commercially, for this thing. If suppose some damage takes place and there is a loss of gas or maybe anything, we have insurance also, so we can claim through insurance. So that system is also there.
Let me go to Mr. Levi. Mr. Levi, two issues that are there. One, of course, is you do have lots of different people working. There are contractors, there are subcontractors, there are field workers, there are supervisors, and then, of course, there is the utility itself. That's one. The second issue is you also have other utilities, which I referred to earlier. So how does one ensure, collaboration of sorts or sharing of information to avoid incidents and accidents?
Yeah, so I think both of the questions are really good, and I will start with the first one about the fact that at the end of the day, when you look at a construction site or construction activity overall, it's a mix. It can be a mix of contractors, different contractors, as well as company crews. And as usually as a CGD or as a utility, you would not necessarily would like to give access to a third party that is now only building one segment of the entire infrastructure. Mm-hmm. I think this is why when we developed our technology, it was very important for us to make sure that first, there will be a clear line between the data that is being collected in the field by the contractors and the field crews and the GIS system of the utility. So it's not the same. So it's a separate system where on our system, in the case of our platform, the contractors, the third party, as well as the company contractors, is using the technology to collect the data. Then there is a back office procedures to review and approve the data, and only afterwards it will be automatically exported to the GIS. So there is a clear line between the data that is collected in the field and available in the field for the field crew, as well as the company crews. Also between different crews and between different contractors, there is a clear, you can separate between them based on permissions and roles. So if I'm contractor A, will see only the data that is relevant for his project and in his territory and so on. And same goes to contractor B and C. So this is with respect to your first question. I think it's a very important point, and it's important to make sure that the data is available only to the person that he needs, and that there is a clear line between the field crews and the back office and the GIS. We need to keep the GIS as the sole truth and the system of record, and making sure that the data that is getting into the system is accurate and as we expect it to be. As for your second question, I think that I can tell you, just to share with you what we have seen in the world. At the beginning, and if you take about countries even like France, when they have a very old infrastructure, what we have seen that today, each utility should be able to provide an accurate data regarding their location of their asset. Because if in the past you only had water, sewage, and maybe some gas pipeline that are going that are underground, now today you have fiber, and you have many other utilities that are starting to use the underground as where they're going to put their pipes. When you're getting to a position where you have different utilities that are, I wouldn't say fight for the same space. First, it's very clear, it's very important for you to know where your stuff are. Right. Because, for example, in France, if a utility cannot provide an accurate map for their existing infrastructure, they're being fined. So know where your stuff is, and then collaborate with other utilities in order to make sure that you are using the data correctly. And of course,
I should just mention here that Niti Aayog, before a few months ago, was looking at doing an infrastructure asset data map, where every infrastructure asset would have a number, and therefore. And now we are going to take questions from the audience. I have to say, we have lots of questions, and therefore I would urge you to reply to them briefly, so that we can take almost all of the questions. The first question is from somebody called Suraj Dhruv or Levi. Can we track progress of pipeline in inch kilometers?
Yeah, so we can collect the data in what we call sub-foot accuracy. It's an accuracy of with majority of our service authority will be, that we see in the US, for example, is less than 2 inch. And our goal is to support the same level of accuracy also in India.
Okay. The next question, I'll go to Mr. Manjeet Singh. Mr. Manjeet Singh, what will be the, from Kiran Khandekar, what will be the impact of recent PNGRB's decision of LNG dispensing station anywhere in India, irrespective of authorized CGD GA?
Yeah, this is a decision which PNGRB has taken.
Mm-hmm.
See, if we talk about city gas distribution,
yeah.
Now they have.
What will be the impact? We are going through a lightning round, so I'll need brief answers, sir.
Impact, definitely it is going to divide the work. It is going to divide the business. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
But the thing is that first of all, it is going to take some time when this whole supply system is going to be established for LNG thing, and to have those kind of cars and the buses, etc., etc. So how much it is going to impact? I don't think it is going to make majorly.
Okay.
It is going to
some impact.
At the same time, it is open for CGD companies also.
Right.
They are already existing there. They can take advantage of particular opportunity in terms of setting up their own LNG stations and to serve the customer. So I think it is both. It is the opportunity as well as it is a threat also.
Okay. Okay. Both. Okay. Wonderful.
So
okay.
It is up to us that how we take advantage.
Okay. Next question. I think I will send it to Mr. Singh from Jyoti Sarup Patnaik. He wants to know about the labor shortage. Does that mean there is additional payment outgo because of labor shortage, Mr. Singh? Is there an increase in cost because of that? Mr. Balam.
He's asking.
Yeah, Ram
Okay.
Balam.
Okay. What's his point? Can you repeat?
Yeah, he from Jyoti Sarup, he wants to know, because of labor shortage, are you likely to have an increase in payment outgo?
So far, it has not been envisaged, but I think time will say. I mean, it is early to say about this, because you see, one team is going on and another lot is also coming from their side.
Okay.
So
right.
So as of now, it is not possible to say about this.
Okay.
Clearly,
yeah. There is a comment from Neeraj Bhatnagar, and I think this goes to IGL and I guess mostly to IGL, saying that thank you for keeping the supply uninterrupted to our households. Okay. The next question is from Mr. Joe Benon about the consumption of gas been impacted. I think we've already heard from Mr. Manjeet Singh that it was down to 10%, but we've also heard the good news from Mr. Ram Balab Singh that he's seeing 60% in some areas now. Mr. Singh, very briefly, in June itself, what has been the trend, sir? Now that public transport has begun in the last few days in Delhi, Mr. Manjeet Singh?
In Delhi, it has come back, but it is not to that level. I think approximately, say 30%, 35%, not more than that.
And of course, in pipe gas, that is not having an impact.
Yeah, that is not happening, yeah.
It's not happening at all. Okay, there is a person, Mohit Kaul, who wants to know, I don't know whether he works for Locusview or not, as to what panelists think of Locusview kind of solution for expansion. Do they see any value in it? I think Mr. Levi has already made a good point there. And Mr. Ahuja has made a good point over there about values. I'm going to skip this. I'm going to go back, maybe come back to this. Mr. Arun Mishra says whether positioning of domestic meter can be outside the house to avoid contact. Mr. Mishra, I think it's a little bit late right now. He's also asking about smart prepaid meters. I think Mr. Singh has already talked about expense of it. Dharampal Gupta says, based on Rewari's success, are you going with prepaid meters in other GAs? Mr. Manjeet Singh, are you going with prepaid meters in other GAs?
No, we are at this moment, we are just doing this pilot. Let this pilot be over, and because backend, we want to see that the customer is 100% happy with that, and we have no teething problems in terms of getting our everything into line, all invoices, etc., the bills which have to be sent to them. So after we will conclude and we do the project appraisal, for Rewari on this prepaid meter, we'll be taking it forward.
Okay. Next question, I think I will send to Mr. Ahuja as an engineering kind of question. What is the interval of sectionalizing valves in steel pipelines, and are they controlled remotely through SCADA? So you have to unmute yourself.
You know, I don't think there is any single answer to this question. Reason being, distance between the sectionalized valve is dependent on a lot many things. But okay, on an average, if you ask me, it could be around 3 to 4 kilometers. Okay. A bigger size sectionalized valve. Yes.
Sent to Mr. Dwivedi. Mr. Dwivedi from Suraj Dhruv, he says, oh sorry, this is a question from Mr. Manmohan. I think he probably means Manjeet Singh rather than Manmohan. Mr. Singh, are employees and groundsmen sincere? Oh, sorry, Dr. Manmohan Ahuja. Mr. Manmohan Ahuja. Question from Suraj Dhruv. He wants to know, are employees and groundsmen sincere about updating data?
Well, to some, even if they are not, to some extent, what Mr. Levi has presented, if you adopt that technology, this question doesn't arise, you know, because that's everything remotely monitored. But yes, of course, we have so far not faced any problem because of employees being not sincere.
Okay. Mr. Surajdev also wants to know what Torrent Gas is doing that's making complete projects faster, but Torrent Gas is not here. I know they're listening, but maybe they can give the answer via chat or via Q&A. Mr. Ajay Singh has a question, and I guess I can send this to Mr. Dwivedi. Any initiatives being taken up with the government with regard to third-party damage?
Yeah, definitely. We are in contact with the district administration mainly. Okay. And we have highlighted this issue on the ministry level also. Okay. Because the things have to be controlled by the administration first. Okay. We have circulated all our drawings. We have had a very structured meeting with the district magistrate. Okay. And where we called all the agencies just to apprise them what kind of material is this, how dangerous it may be in cases that the contractor, those who are working on behalf of third party are not properly educated. Okay. And so what we are asking them, just give us a phone call. We will make our team to reach at the place along with the drawing, and so we can just guide the people up there, okay, how they can take up work further. Instead of just they are digging up without any information and during wee hours. So that those things are definitely to be avoided, and we have taken with our administration.
Next question is from Dharampal Gupta for Mr. Levi. Is there any way to locate previously laid Mdpe pipes?
So there are various technologies for locating existing pipeline. Yes, there are. You can use a locator, but it's pretty limited in terms of the area that you can locate, and it's being used on, I would say, a daily basis in other countries. So there is still not technology that's available to locate a large part of the network at once in an efficient ways, and therefore what we have are a limited solution to locate pipelines in a pretty well-defined street, like a service line or a short main, part of a main, and so on and so forth.
Okay. I'm going to skip the next two questions about future of CGD and impact of GST. That requires a separate session. Next question from Vivek Sonar. How is Locusview pricing compared to other established GIS companies?
So I think I assume it's the question is for me. So I think that we are offering a totally different business model. We are not, GIS is a well-respected system, and of course, most of the systems should have it, of the company should have a GIS in it at some point. What we are offering is a very lean model where you can use our system on the cloud with a per user, per year fee. You don't need to pay, as I said, any upfront fees. We don't, in order to start using the system, and we can do it in a very efficient way. So I think if you can compare, and of course we need to take it offline with specific, with each company specifically, but the bottom line is it's a modern and lean software, and therefore the price I would assume should be.
Okay. The next question I'm going to send to Mr. Ramballabh Singh. What is the status of CNG compressors? Since last year, the outlets could not be commissioned due to availability of compressors. So I guess he's asking about availability of CNG compressors. Mr. Ramballabh Singh, are you seeing any shortage there?
No, I don't think so. We have already, you see, from where this question comes?
Atul Goyal, I don't know which company. But anyway, there's no shortage. Has anyone else, Mr. Ahuja, any shortage of CNG compressors?
No, not exactly. We didn't feel that.
So that question is not there. We'll move to the next question, sir. The next question is for IGL and for Central UP Gas. I'll go to Mr. Dwivedi first. Mr. Dwivedi, what is your expectation about CNG demand a year from now? Do you think this reduction will remain, or do you think that this demand will come back?
Actually, this demand is basically depends on what kind of demographic profile we have.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about where the demand has come down from current stations. What is your thought?
No, definitely is going to go up. There is no doubt in it.
Okay.
As the people are going to get acclimatized with the system and get acclimatized with this phenomena of COVID, definitely mobility is there, and we have already reached up to the 70% of the load so far. Yeah.
Mr. Manjeet Singh, I guess the question probably is that there's public transportation and private transportation, and public transportation in Delhi is based on CNG. So if there's less of public and more of private, therefore what is your impact on CNG demand, let's say a year from now?
From year from now, this could be a best guess. I don't know, because COVID is still very, very uncertain. Right. Though the lockdown is open, but as the number of cases are increasing, we are hearing that there will be another disruption somewhere. Right. So it is very difficult to predict. But what I am hearing from different people, that it may take to come back at least 2 years time. That is what people are seeing, that to come back to the same state, it will take at least minimum 2 years time.
Okay. The next question is for you only, Mr. Singh. Does IGL have any plans to put automation in dispensers installed in oil markets?
Yes. We have laid a SCADA, as what I said.
Right.
Through SCADA, now even the existing dispensers, we are looking at that if they can be connected with the SCADA, which they have checked it, so that they can be upgraded. Otherwise, the new purchases also, which we are making now, will be SCADA compatible. And we already have with the existing also. We
already have dispensers, right? Yeah.
We already have the POS system, which is used for automation. Like automation, why we need is to collect the data, exact data, as well as when the price change has to be done.
We have to move to the next question. Sorry, there's so many questions here. Can I have the panelists 10 more minutes from each of the panelists? Is that possible, Mr. Dwivedi? 10 more minutes from each of you?
Pardon, sir, I could not listen to the question properly.
Can I get 10 more minutes of your time, the panelists' time?
Definitely, I am at your disposal. There is no issue at all.
Okay, there are lots of questions that are there. Mr. Manjeet Singh, there's another question for you. What is the GSM charge per month per customer that IGL is experiencing at Rewari?
I didn't get you.
What is the GSM cost per month? I guess telecom cost per month per customer.
See, the backend, as I said to you, like if you are talking about this meter, prepaid meter,
right?
I have given you the cost. The cost of the meter is around 5,000 rupees, right. And to maintain the backend, which includes that telecom cost also, is the 6,000. So overall, it comes out to be 11,000. This is for a span of 10 years time.
Okay, Doctor. Let me go to Mr. Ahuja next. It's about permissions and from NHAI, PWD, and railways. Sir, is there any kind of digital system or digital platform for you to get permissions?
Well, so far it's normal, nothing like digital we are applying. Well, of course, certain location online applications are there, but then again, you have to, support it with the hard documents. So it's usual.
All right. From Vivek Sonar, there is a question from Mr. Levi. How much back office work is involved with the Locus system before we port it to GIS server?
Actually, a very good question. The main goal of the back office using Locusview technology is to review and approve the data that is being collected in the field. So our system will present the data, will show if there is any warning, or what we call warning violation, things that are wrong, that are not according to the procedure, design, and so on. It will be presented to the back office user. He will approve it or send it back to the field crew, and then it will automatically export it to the GIS. And then it's a fully automated process for them to view it on the GIS. on the GIS, they will usually do some minor adjustment, and that's it, and it will be part of their GIS network.
The next question from Nitin Batra, I will send it to Mr. Rambalabha Singh. Mr. Singh, he wants to know why is welding not semi-automatic welding? Why are we doing manual welding still?
Actually, in CT condition.
Yeah, sir, you have to unmute yourself. You have to unmute yourself, Mr. Balab Singh. Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay?
Yes, sir, it's okay now. Yes, sir.
Actually, in CT condition, this is not, it's a difficult task to have a automatic kind of thing, but we have not explored also. This is also the fact.
Okay. The next question is about PNGRB portal. I'm sure everyone would want it. He wants to know whether it should be there. Question for Mr. Dwivedi. Why is CUGL not putting up more CNG outlets in Kanpur?
Sir, we have put the optimum stations possible. Wherever there is needed, it is already there.
Okay.
Moreover, we are further exploring this area. And definitely, as I told you earlier, that definitely we should start generating revenue as fast as possible. Okay. So we are exploring other areas and other OMCs and other retail outlets, because there is space constraints are also there. To put up a compressor up there, vacuum movement is not that easy. But sufficient stations are already available.
Okay. Question from Mr. Manjeet Singh. Mr. Manjeet Singh, is prepaid meter viable for domestic customers in PNG customers in Rewari, place like Rewari?
No, not at this moment. It has been done as a pilot, and we have to do the project appraisal. But as far as viability is concerned, it is very, very expensive. At this moment, it is very, very expensive as compared to AMR. Okay. So I don't see the viability.
Okay, for Mr. Levi from Vivek Sonar, what kind of competencies are required for field crew to use your system?
So I think it's as I said at the beginning, during the pilots, we were able to show that after a few hours of training, up to a day, the field crew were able to use the technology. So there was no, I would say, special education needed in order to use it. So it's a very simple and easy to use technology.
Okay. There is a question about EVs and what impact it will have on CGD. I think I'm going to not allow that, because we just want to talk about network design, planning, and operations. And somebody's talking about IGL, how SIP is important. So obviously it is. Okay, here is a question, Satyendra Yadav. In India, do we have GIS for utilities? But do we have GIS for utilities? Let me throw this question to Mr. Levi. In your survey, did you find all utilities using GIS in some way or not?
No, I think that part of them are using GIS. Some part of them are in the process of adopting a GIS technology. But I think what is good, if they will use our technology, I think it's two separate processes. Meaning, you can use our technology in order to collect the data during the construction. And at some point, once you have your GIS system, you can view the data obviously on our web tool. And once you will have your GIS, it's export the data for your GIS system. So it's a much linear and faster deployment than deploying a GIS system. And this way you can enjoy both worlds.
Another question from Mr. Dharanpal Gupta for Mr. Dwivedi. Are you looking at prepaid meters, Mr. Dwivedi?
Not as of now, sir.
Not Mr. Rambalab Singh, same question for you. Are you looking at prepaid meters? Mr. Rambalab Singh?
Yes, hello.
Prepaid meters, sir?
Actually, we want to use it first in mainly commercial and industrial purposes, but not for domestic, because it is not financially feasible.
Okay. The next question is for Mr. Dwivedi from Atul Goel. What are the plans of CUGL in putting up CNG outlets in Jhansi?
Yeah, definitely we are looking forward to it. And we are we have already put up 2 stations up there.
Okay.
They're working fine. We are still working on it. All
right. Question for Mr. Levi. Can Locus software identify third-party damage sitting at our premises?
No. The main goal of the technology is doing the construction. Obviously, it will give you the ability to have the data about the location of the asset, but it will not identify third-party damages.
Okay. Mr. Manjeet Singh, there is a question for you. I don't fully understand it. It says, is Enel thermal conductivity meter a win-win for customer? I have no
think
idea.
that, we have done the technical evaluation. I will come back to you because I'm not sure that what was the final outcome of that.
Okay.
So whether we have technically accepted it or we rejected it, I'm not sure, 100% sure about it. But I can come back to you on this.
Okay. Mr. Ahuja is thinking of doing a control room. Have a control room for various.
Yes.
You are. Okay. Mr. Singh, do you already have a control room? Mr. Manjeet
You
Singh?
are asking me?
Mr. Manjeet Singh.
Yes.
You already have a network.
Yeah, we have a control room, central control room in Kakanagar.
Okay.
And it's a quite modern control room.
Okay.
Anybody can come. In fact, Mr. Pradhan has also visited that control room himself. And there was a good appreciation from his side, the Minister of Petroleum.
Question for Mr. Ahuja from Rajesh Kumar Mishra. Whether automatic leak detection system in steel network is possible to implement through SCADA?
Yes, it is possible, but again, then we have to see, viability and effectiveness. So I don't think any of us are going for that.
Okay. Question, I guess, from Mr. Levi from Muhammad Akram Pasha. If we installed 3 IMR meters side by side, then is there any chances of error of online reading?
I'm not sure. It's less our focus. We can take it offline and
the next question is for you. How much time does it take to implement Locus software?
I think that from our experience, between 3 to 6 months, we can be live.
Okay. I think we've taken enough of time. We asked for 3 to 4:30. It's been 3 to 4:40. We've taken almost 60 questions. And for that, I would like to say thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just told that there were some questions that came via email. And so if I can take just 2 more minutes of your time, this came early on. Yeah, so there's a question about welding, which has been taken care of. And the other one, yeah, so both these questions have been taken care of. So let me say it's been a very insightful discussion, very informative discussion. And I would like to thank all of the panelists. I would also like to wish them luck in their new initiatives. And of course, hope they stay healthy and safe. That's important. Thank you, Mr. Dwivedi. Hope to see you in person one of these days. Thank you, Mr. Ahuja. Hope to see you in person also one of these days.
Thank you, Alok.
Mr. Singh, always wonderful to see you, old friend.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes,
it's my pleasure.
Mr. Ram Bharat
Thank
Singh,
you.
You have done the video, but we hope to see you. And Mr. Levi, thank you for making.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was a real pleasure. Thank you very much.
The panelists can leave the meeting now, and we'll keep the screen alive for just 5 more minutes for people to have any questions that we can try answering about just not the expert questions, but about recordings, etc., housekeeping questions. But the panelists can leave the meeting now.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we'll keep the screen on for 5 minutes. If there are any particular questions about recordings, etc., you can ask us here through Q&A or through chat. Mr. Joe Benoon says, thank you, guys. Thank you, Mr. Benoon, for being there. Hardik Nair says, thanks for insightful webinar. We would like to thank the panelists as well. We are only providing the platform. And of course, thank you to Locusview for making this possible as well. Question from Satyendra Yadav. Maybe Mr. Levi, you can answer that. Can the software be installed on any device, or is there a special device needed?
Yes, we support what we call bring your own device. So any Android, iOS, as well as Windows. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Goel is in good initiative. Thank you, Mr. Goel. We'll keep it on for another 2-3 minutes. Mr. Vipin wants to know how to access the recording. Sir, if you have registered properly, as in, with email, etc., we will send you the recording link. A question from Anil Tripathi. Maybe, Mr. Levi, you can take a shot at it. As steel pipelines are mostly not piggable, I don't know what that means, piggable, how can health of pipelines be monitored, steel pipelines?
So our technology is both suitable for plastic as well as steel pipeline. Okay. So it goes to both, and we can take it offline if you want to get into further details.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, Mr. Satyan, this was from Anil Kumar Tripathi. Mr. Tripathi, if you can send us your email, then I'm sure somebody from Locusview can get to you.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's my dog outside who's had it. So I'm locked into my study right now. Mr. Nitin Yadav is saying thank you for invitation, panel, and discussion. Thank you, Mr. Yadav. I'm glad you could join us. Question from Atul Goyal: how can Mr. Levi help oil marketing companies which are dealing with various CGDs?
I think it's the same. I think that what we have seen is the challenge that we have with the challenge there are with oil pipelines are pretty similar for CGDs, and therefore I think the technology is pretty much should be aligned and should be suitable for both.
Yeah. Mr. Goyal, if you can send us your email address, we can pass that on to Mr. Levi as well.
Yeah.
And in case we will give Mr. Goyal's email address too.
Yes, of course. Thanks.
So, and also Mr. Tripaঠি's address, because he was talking about monitoring the health of steel pipelines. Nikita, can you keep an eye on this for 5 more minutes? Yeah. I think since there are a few questions coming, we can just stay on for 5 more minutes. Yeah. Yeah. And maybe Mr. Levi can stay on as well if there are any other questions.
Yes, no problem. Yes.
Yeah. All right. I'll be leaving the meeting now. Thank you very, very much. And Nikita is there to take care of anything that's needed. Thank you.
Mr. Levi, one of the panelists wants to know if you could share your presentation with them.
Yes, of course.
All right.
It's a pleasure. Can you tell me who?
So Mr. Satyendra Yadav. Mr. Satyendra Yadav, I don't know about the organization, but he is interested in having your presentation. So we have his email address. So if you agree to it, we'll share it.
Yes. Can you share it, please? Do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
And with my email, please. As well.
So he's from Thingas company, Thingas, a CGD entity.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Share his email address as well.
Yes.
There are a couple of more people who are interested in having your presentation. I think we'll share the presentation with all the
Yes.
participants. Please do provide your email address. We are going to share the presentation with you.
Yes. Can you please add my email to the presentation?
Yeah,
or my
sir,
contact
we'll do
information?
that. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
thank you.
So I think Nishpreet has your email address in the contact details, so we'll add it to your presentation and send it to all the
I think what I suggest, I will send you a PDF format of the presentation, and then with my email, and then you can send the PDF. It will be easier.
Sure, sir.
Okay?
Sure, sir.
I will
Sure,
send you right now.
All right, sir. Sure. We're going to keep the screen on for 2-3 more minutes. Thank you, Mr. Bhatnagar, Mr. Ali, and Mr. Atul for your email address. And we are going to share the revised PPT along with Mr. Levy's contact details with you. We have your email address. Thank you. We're going to keep the screen on for 2 more minutes. Mr. Levy, Mr. Satyam, Dave wants to compliment you for your wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Mr. Neeraj Patnagar, we are going to share the details of the panelists with you. I'm not sure about the participants and the delegates, but I'm sure that we can share the panelist details and then their email address with you. We are going to keep the screen on for 1 more minute now. In case you have any particular suggestions or questions, please do write to us. There is a comment by Mr. Satyendra Yadav. He says that utilities should have GIS for better development of the country for future plan to avoid third-party damages. Thank you for that comment, Mr. Yadav. There is a comment by Mr. Hardik Nayak. He says, special thanks to Mr. Levi for showing interest in Indian CGDs. Looking forward to meet new technologies from you.
Thank you very much.
I think we can keep the screen on for 1-2 more minutes. I think people are sending comments. Nishpreet, have you copied all the questions as well as the email address?
Yes, I have.
I think we can leave the meeting now. Thank you, Mr. Levi, for staying till the end.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.